And now, coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, it's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, only on KGRA Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience, only on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium. I'm an energetic healer. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a 29-year talk radio host in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm a creative and a performing artist and a paranormal survivor. And I come to you live from my home in Southern California every Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. This show is about spirituality. It's about creativity. It's about humanity. It's about passion. It's about service. It's about doing your best to become your best you and then maintain that in this big, beautiful world. And of course, always inspire others to do the same. And every week on the show, it may be my show, but it's always without a doubt your experience and the experience of my guests. My guest today is returning to the show. He is a wonderfully talented film producer and also paranormal survivor. He lives in a very haunted house on the same street where the Tate-LaBianca murders happened, and everybody has been there to paranormal investigate. If you haven't been to the Oman house, then nobody knows you in the paranormal community. Please welcome my good friend David Oman. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Sheena. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to have you here. It's always good to have you with me.
So excuse me, might have gotten the chill from the rain outside. It's good to be back, obviously.
Yeah, it's nice to have the rain, but the thunder, I don't know, but down here at the beach, the thunder is really loud.
It's
Ooh.
The rain is so heavy, it sounds like there's somebody on the roof beating away at the drums.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like...
I think the thunder shook the house, and the poor kitty, he's hiding upstairs now. He looked at me like, why is this happening to me? Like it was something that was coming just for him. But
yeah.
And I love thunder, but it shook me like it sounded like a bomb hit the house. It was a lot.
Yeah, well, we haven't had the thunder as of yet, but the rain's just been hard enough where the dogs are like, then I take them out and they're like, no, we don't want to go out. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to get wet. You know, we have to go out. So.
And that means that rain is just coming for me because I'm an hour south of you. So it'll be here soon, and I cannot wait. I'm a New England girl, so bring the rain on. I love it.
Oh, God, help
I
you.
was thinking about you. I interviewed, I think I told you this when we talked privately, but I did an interview on one of my iHeartRadio shows that you've been on many times with Dr. Barry Taft.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Come out to your house a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And he was he talked in the course of the most haunted things that have ever happened to him. He said that while he was coming out and investigating your house, that he developed this sort of like spiritual relationship / borderline obsession with it. And he kept, like, he couldn't stay away. Like he kept wanting to come, and he kept wanting to be there. And he thought about it all the time when he wasn't there. And then it became almost something he sort of had to break himself from. And I thought that was an interesting story, because here's a guy that investigated the San Pedro haunting, the entity house, like everything in the world, right? But your house kind of spiritually seduced him. And it happens, right? Houses entrance people sometimes.
I think people become obsessed with things more than it is the place itself, the location. I won't go so far as to say that the house is a point of obsession. I think people, look, let's be honest, people are obsessed with Sharon Tate. The woman's been dead for 54 years.
Yes.
And there's more of an obsession about her now than there was when she was alive.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
That speaks volumes unto itself. Plus, the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was not about Sharon Tate. And in fact, she was on the screen, or Margot Robbie was on the screen. Sharon's personage was on the screen for 13 minutes total, speaking and non-speaking in a 156 or 166 minute long film?
Yes, long film, yes.
Okay, I rest my case. So, I think it's more the allure and the attraction and the intrigue of the Sharon Tate murders than it really is about, the house seducing him. No offense. I mean, it's very poetically put, but boy, that's a lot of responsibility on my shoulders there.
He didn't talk much at all about the murders or Sharon Tate, just in passing. With him, it was mostly about the Native American energy there and the old Hollywood energy there and the energy of the canyon. And I got to tell you, right, those Hollywood Hills are haunted. I mean, it's no matter where you live. It's like I live in Huntington Beach, which I now find out the paranormal community calls Hauntington Beach. Pretty much this whole town's an Indian burial ground. It's a giant marshland that the Indians used as their burial ground. So we've all got it. I mean, everybody who lives here, oh, is your house haunted? Oh, yeah, yours. But I mean, I do things to go to great lengths to ward it so it's not haunted.
Right.
But yeah, I feel things all the time. And the newest thing is I got my cat Cullen one of those snake toys that if he hits it with his paw, it starts moving.
Oh, wow.
Now in the middle of the night, it just moves for no reason. And the first time it happened, I was like, where is Cullen? And I looked over and he's sitting right next to me and he's like, I don't know why that's happening. Why is my toy moving? So I do everything I can to discourage it because I don't want to live
that's hysterical
in a spiritual poop show. But it's a thing, right? And I think for whatever reason, the energy there, it kind of sucks some people in and they're very moved by it. And for all his parapsychology PhD, he was very moved by that house.
I think that has to do with the fact that the house had so much activities and the occurrences going on here more than it had to do with his the house itself. I mean, it was the fact that, as he used to say, he can't figure it out. He wants to figure out what's going on, how this is happening, and kept on saying, well, maybe it's a one-trick pony, meaning the first time he's here and he's getting these readings, that's it. And he says, I had to come back multiple times to verify and validate my assumption. He goes, an assessment. And finally, when he said to me, well, it's like when we have a paranormal investigation, such as the occurrence at the Entity House case, he says our meters, the manifestation would occur, the meters would spike, and then return to normal on the DC geomagnetometer. And he goes, at your house, they're always at this point. I said, what do you mean? They're always, he goes, they're always flatlining to the nth degree. And I'm like, he goes, no matter if it's day or night when I'm here, it's always here. It's like, but it's always moving around the house, he said. It was shifting. It wasn't static. He said, it's not like there's one spot and I can isolate it. He goes, oh no, it's moving around. And going, oh, great. Terrific, Barry.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear him say that's, that he's that, I don't want to say obsessed, but that he,
I don't
became that.
Exactly what word he used, and I would have to go back and listen, but he definitely was talking about how he had to sort of break himself of the urge to be there all the time. And I get it. I mean, I think, and I know I'm long overdue to come see you, thanks COVID, but I think if I went there all the time, I would start to feel the same way. Not that it's all not about you and I don't love and adore you, because I do. But I think, and you're beautiful.
Thanks.
Babies, but I think,
my cats and dogs.
I think, I think you can get really, I think it's like you hear stories all the time about how the house called to me, like the haunted house that I lived in that was just a nightmare in Baltimore.
Called to me.
My dad was obsessed with that house. And my dad was an atheist who didn't believe in anything, but he was obsessed with that house and he made excuses for it. The way you would make excuses for like your nasty ex-girlfriend you didn't want to break up with, it wasn't the house. It wasn't the house. And
God, I'm kind of shocked at hearing this because I don't seem to have any of the problems. I mean, then again, I've lived here 21 years. So to me, it's, but I don't have those feelings of like ghost hunting here even. I mean, I stopped doing that long ago. I mean, I have stuff happen. And it's like, okay, I saw that, but I don't avidly, and in spite of the fact that the house has got was it 30 cameras inside and outside? I think there's
Right.
4 outside, 1 in the garage, and 25 throughout the entire house. And the only time I am ever interested in doing any research on the cameras is if I hear something that I'm like, I got to write down the time, what room I'm in, and what happened, and then I'll review it. Otherwise, otherwise I'm not at all viewing the cameras. I did that for the first 3 months when I got the system, but after that, it was like, no thanks. It doesn't interest me because it's time consuming, and there's no, to me, it's like if they want to let themselves be known, I have confidence that they will let me know that they're there. And thereby, I don't have to sit there and be like, oh God, I got to find out what's going on in the cameras. It's just the obsession you just spoke of.
Right. Yes.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
So there I know that I don't have that because I've lived it. And it's like going.
Right. Right. But there are people who do, right? Like I remember watching an episode of one of the paranormal shows 10 or 15 years ago. I want to say maybe it was Paranormal State. And they went to this woman's house.
Oh, right.
And she had boxes and boxes of little like mini tapes. And she was just sitting in her kitchen 15 hours a day doing EVPs. And she just couldn't stop. And then you wonder why things are.
That's an obsessive compulsive nature of that individual having nothing to do with the location. It's that individual. In my case, I don't suffer from that.
Right.
I burnt out with that after 3 months of going, I'm getting too little sleep and I'm going out of my freaking mind. I don't care anymore.
So do your cameras run all the time? And how do you know if they catch something?
When I hear it, or I find something that's out of place or that's been knocked over or moved.
Okay.
So then there's like, all right, let's what the hell is this all about? Let's find out.
Okay.
And that's how it works. To me, that's how it works here. I mean, or if I have people over visiting and somebody says, David, oh my God, I was on the 3rd floor and this happened. It's like, what? He goes, I heard somebody and this and that. The cat toy started lighting up. It's like, what time? Just as easy as that. Just what time?
Right.
And that's it. And then you go and you review the footage and you're like,
right.
No shit. I mean, and here's the thing. And at that point, it's like, that's a trip. It's not like it's scary and it's like, It's like, oh my God, there's a YouTube video.
Right. It's no wonder. Yeah. But do your friends still get scared when they come over?
Depends who you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
I mean, some people, say, I don't want to go to the 3rd level without you going with me. It's like one.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
You won't go downstairs unless I go with you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I go, but why? What's the problem? Well, I said, it's in your freaking head. It's not the actual fact of what you're going to deal with. It's what you think you're going to deal with. And if you do have that experience, why don't you just deal with it? I'm going, all right, fine. So what do you come over then? Well, I like hanging out and stuff. And I want to see that. It's like, okay. And some people are just, for lack of better words, they're just kind of scared shitless no matter if they're shadow, no matter where they go. And that's the thing. And some people, I don't like them coming into the house because it's a drain on me going, okay, why do I have them come over?
Right. Because you don't want to hear how somebody's freaked out the entire time.
It's nothing I can do. I'm babysitting them at my house going, what am I supposed to do? And, but otherwise everything is pretty much kosher and on the up and up with no problem with people. As I said to somebody else last week, the house is mellowed out in a sense. It used to be really like when Barry was here in 2005, it was intense. That was the first 3 years I've been living here. A lot of the things, let's just say, and I don't give it away, but a lot of the unexplained experiences that we felt physically don't happen as much.
Okay.
And I said, like, for instance, when we walk into the laundry room and on the runway, as we call it, between the water heater room and the outside door, you used to walk in, you'd feel like you're rocking back and forth on a boat. Nowadays, that doesn't happen as much, except for sometimes with new people that visit the house. They go walk and they said, I'm feeling like a little bit like off kilter, like out of, I said, like you're rocking back and forth in a boat. They go, yeah, that's it. Because they can't because you're on land. What are the odds you're going to think about rocking back and forth in a boat?
Yes.
But that's the sensation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that is sort of what happens. There's a disorienting feeling, I think, when their spirit activity is very heavy somewhere. And I think sometimes you don't even know what it is. People who don't know and are not around spirit activity all the time don't really know what it is. They just know something feels weird. And I think likening it to seasickness is kind of you just feel like you're just kind of your footing on the ground isn't quite there.
Yeah, they feel literally, and I felt it myself. So it's not like I'm not, how should you say, I'm not privy to that experience, because I've felt it many times. It literally feels like you're like this, rocking back and going, and then you took one step down onto the landing from where the where the washing machine and dryer are, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's instantaneously noticeable, and there's no explanation for it. So that's just an example. But a lot of what Barry had said about his experiences aren't so prevalent nowadays, except when the moon hits when the bullet hits the moon just right, so to speak. It's that moment when it's just the convergence. Sometimes it's a person coming in, sometimes it's, I don't know, it's just sometimes it's really gets really, really, really intense, but not as much as it used to.
Yeah.
It's totally like mellowed out a little bit. It has its moments, but it's, just not like it used to be.
Do you think part of that has to do with the fact that the land, the house / the land, it's really the land, has just gotten used to having a lot of people in there looking around, so it's just not a big deal anymore?
No, I don't think that's it. I think it more or less is kind of like, it's, geez, what a word to hear, matured.
Oh, okay.
And it's not the energy, it's not the spirits. As like I said, it happens, but it still happens. There are moments where we go there, it's like one, oh, wow. And everybody goes down necessarily to the third floor as an example, and you just feel this heaviness and this just like physical pressure on your chest, and you're like going, oh my God, or pressure in your sinuses and in your head, and you're going, oh my God, it's pinning, it hurts so bad. And then you go upstairs and you're like going, it's not around anymore.
Right. Do you think that has to do that the farther down that you go, David, the more into the mountain you're really going, right? Because the house is built in the mountain.
Well, as a matter of fact, here, aren't we lucky? I happen to have right here, let me get this. Come here, guys, let me get this all here. I should have had this earlier set up, but I've got photographs here of all of what you're talking about.
Oh, nice. Yay. I like when they're visual.
Yeah, well, of course, you're on a visual medium. I would think you'd want that. But I just happen to have them right here. Bear with me, everybody. Sorry for the delay. No, not now. That, yes, there. All right, so here's an example. This is when we bought the lot.
Right.
Now you can see, I'll close up in. That's the driveway up there. This is the house next door that was actually there during the murders. It's actually for sale right now, but you can see the driveway here. Yeah. The house is built on the side, so as you go this direction, as you see, this is pre-construction. This was here. So these caissons here, they're here. The caissons and all this, the rebar, the house actually sits on the slope.
Yeah.
So if the slope is like this, which it is, the house sits like this.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't sit into, it sits on the hill.
Right, but you do have the earth room, right? Where they're
All right, so I'll show you where the earth room is. Let's see. Let me get this out of my pocket because it's beeping off. The earth room is actually right there. Let me see. That's this. Yeah, right there. That's the earth room. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find the damn trees.
And for people who haven't been there, it's fascinating. You literally walk in this room, and it's like the side of the mountain is inside the house.
All right, you see where this tree is right here?
Yeah.
That's where the earth room is. Do you see this? This is the tree that I talked about that was taken down, and the stump is still there in the mount on the side of the hill. So basically, right there it is.
Yeah. Yep.
You see that? That's the tree stump right there. I'm trying to get the light.
Yeah. I've never been in anyone's house before, and I've been in a lot of houses.
That's the earth.
Anyone's house where you open a door and the mountain is like in the house.
That's the mountain. This is where the earth room is. What you see here is that's the earth room right here, the hill. And it's just, again, the house is built on top of the mountain. So all you see is what's not hidden behind the wall. Because again, in the theater room, you see the wall where the UCLA football helmets and the footballs are. Right behind that is another earthen wall room.
Oh, okay. That you can enter?
That you can enter as well. And it's a storage room. Again, it has a platform, and the mountain is up here. There's a concrete, gray beam there, and then it's dug in, but the hill is still there further in.
Right, right. So what is the purpose of the earth room? Why is
purpose?
It there?
It's there because it's part of the house. It's not why is it there? It's really was made to house the air conditioning unit. I'm trying to look for my there we are.
Oh, okay.
So it was and the other side that I'm talking about on the opposite side behind the theater room happens to be where the heater furnace is, the air conditioning ducts are, and the water heater for the third level.
Okay.
So again, it's hidden behind the wall because, again, if your hill is here and you build your house here, as a matter of fact, if you notice right here where this is, you see this?
Yeah.
That's the wall in the cinder block wall in the egress. So when you're talking about this, that whole thing here is the wall inside the house is made of this. So when you go down the side of the stairs, this whole thing is the wall. I think on this side, you can see it better. Let me show you. Yeah, right here. This and up is filled in with dirt, and that's where the driveway is.
So, but that's pretty intense. I mean, when you talk about how much energy, spiritual energy comes up out of the ground, you literally have the ground in your house. I mean, that's pretty fascinating.
Well, it's under the house. Remember, it's underneath the house. The house isn't really dug into it, but it sits on top of it.
Right.
But in that specific room, like I said, you can see that's the earthen wall room right there. Because remember, you've got right here, if I'm not mistaken, right here is that gray beam that runs up the wall. When you come in the door, to your immediate right is that concrete. That's what that's made on.
Right.
And then that's the earthen wall room right there. So
and
that's
you can feel it. When you're in that room, you can feel the energy of the ground. You can feel the energy of the Hollywood Hills in that room because the ground is right there. In the same way that this house was built on water. I mean, it's built on sand. And there are times where I can feel the energy of that coming up through this house.
See, what you got here is my house under construction. And you can see in proximity, here's the Tate house. Under construction. This is 2004. I mean, 2004. This is 1999. And you can see my house.
Wow. Yeah. Look at that. Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's under construction, like I said. And so then this house here is for sale right now for $2 million.
Wow.
And I heard that this house, where is it? That this house was just sold for $55 million recently.
And that's on the
That's the Tate
Tate-LaBianca
house.
property?
Yes. And here's another shot from back in 1999.
Yeah.
During the construction, you can see the driveway.
Yeah.
And you can see where the houses were. The two
Now,
houses that you see that are inset are actually two houses that were there during the murders.
wow.
This house and then the house over here.
Wow.
And this is the one that she ran to, the housekeeper ran to, Winifred
Right.
Chapman, and that's the place that's for sale right now.
Wow. And would you live in that house?
Are you serious? Hell no.
Okay. All right, good. I'm just checking.
Which house? Which house? Which this
Checking.
house or the one at the end of the drive? This house, I've rented it out as an Airbnb. Hell to the no, thank you. I don't like that house.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
a fan of that house.
Because I think I told you that story that the first time I came to your house,
Yes.
and you and I had known each other before then, but I hadn't been to the house. We walked out at the same time. You were walking the dogs.
Right.
And I got in my car, and I just assumed it was like a cul-de-sac where I could turn around.
Right.
So I'm driving, and it's like 1:00 in the morning, and all of a sudden I'm like, where do I turn around? And I looked up, and there was the gate for that property, and I could feel the energy coming off that property, and I'm like, oh, I got to do a 3-point turn and get out of here fast.
Right.
And I'm not normally like that, but I do find there are places in the Hollywood Hills that do feel extremely spiritually heavy.
Right. And this, of course, is a picture. This is where we are right now, right next to my neighbor's house. This, of course, is a famous shot on the day of the murders.
Right. Wow.
And you can zoom in and you can see one of the bodies. Where is it? Up here. Right there.
Wow. And it really is a very isolated place. I mean,
Well, look at it. I mean, there's an example. There were two houses up here, and then you have 0.2 of a mile, 0.3 of a mile to get to the bottom of the street, and that's it.
Yeah. And you literally make a sharp left turn, and then you go up and around the mountain to the top, and that's where it is. I mean, it isn't like there's a lot of access to it from a lot of different places.
Right. Here's another shot, and you can see the driveway.
Wow.
And you can see where the see, look how far down. I mean, there's nothing in between. And look at there, way at the end is the Tate property.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was pretty damn secluded, and it still, for that matter, is.
It is still secluded. Yeah. And
Excuse me.
Dr.
Yes.
Taft on the show. Dr. Taft talked about
Yes,
also the energy of how you're pretty much on a mountain cliff.
You're not on a cliff. You're not on a cliff. You're on this
You're on the side of the mountain.
side of the mountain.
Down.
My God, it's no cliff.
And then you go up.
Not
and on
Montgomery
the
or
other side,
otherwise.
There's more houses across the way that are in the same kind of place, but on the other side, right?
No, there's nothing across the canyon from my house, built off the hill. Ours are the only ones. They're further up the street, yes, but not. I mean, up Cielo, yes, there are other houses built like this, and around the corner. But across from us, it's all an empty hill, and then on top is Falcon Lair, which was Rudolph Valentino's house.
Right, but what about like if I look out your patio window?
Yes,
there's houses across there, right?
You go on the balcony, you look straight across, you see nothing but hillside. There are houses on top.
Oh.
There's Falcon Lairs built on top.
Oh, okay.
This doesn't show Falcon Lair. No, this doesn't. No.
All right.
It's across the canyon. It's empty. That's Falcon Lairs across the canyon.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's a really intense energy that comes out of that place too that you can feel. I didn't know that's what that was.
Yeah, Falcon Lairs there, and then there's a house on the top of the mountain, and there's a house down at the end of the street on the cul-de-sac across from this street. And that's it. There are no houses built. It's an empty mountain across the way from us so far.
Yeah.
For how long, I don't know. Right, exactly. Thanks, Bears.
Right, you never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they just said? Somebody might build.
Well, they've already taken a piece of virgin mountain up. Literally, when you go out the balcony and you look up, there's Dr. Phil's houses on top of this precipice, but on this, at the end of Cielo Drive, where it branches off to two streets, up the mountain. They've literally gone in and bulldozed into the Virgin Mountain and built a 400-foot, 500-foot street that's a private driveway up there. And first of all, I've gone up to that street and to that dead end, and it is a nightmare. A, to drive it, B, to walk it, because it's this tiniest little fingerling street that goes up. But I'm thinking, you could build 3 mansions up there. And again, it's like my property, simple, hillside down. They might build a goddamn street. So you have a street, just like this was once a big, it was a hillside. They cut a street in, and then they built houses off the street, off this. So they're going to build 3 mansions up there. But the drive up there, you thought it was bad? People getting lost to find this house? I got news for you. There will be so many people getting lost to get up there. It's like the perfect hideaway shack. Because, yes, you can see it from Cielo, but go figure out how to get all the way up there.
Yes, you're right. Exactly. Right. It's like a puzzle.
It's a
puzzle. A lot of the Hollywood Hills are a puzzle. You're like, I can see the house, but how in the world do I get to it?
Oh, yeah. Though it's one of those things. It's like, it literally just is a cluster of a drive to get up there. Because like I said, I know how to do it myself, but it's like, I would never dare think of it because it's just impossible. It's so, unless they build a street, and I don't know how they're going to do this because the houses are going to be right on the mountain, but at the gosh darn straight up at the end of Cielo Drive and build a street that's cut into the mountain to get up there that'll, crisscross back and forth, scissor back and forth to get up there to it, but switchback, that's right, it'll be a switchback road, but that's the only way it would do it. And then they'd have a gate at the bottom that you'd buzz in and you'd have to drive up the switchback road to get up to the houses that are up on the hill.
Wow. Wow.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense because it's like, there? How do you get to have who's going to be the moving trucks? You're not going to get bigger than a 16-foot moving truck up there because it's literally this rickety little tiny little street that if 2 cars are going down and up and down at the same time, it's like, all right, you back up till we get to a spot where it's open enough because it's literally that wide.
Do you think the isolation has something to do with a haunting? Or do you think a house can be just as haunted, like right on Santa Monica Boulevard?
It doesn't matter where it's located. Again, every place is haunted, Sheena. Meaning that any place that people lived, loved, played, worked, doesn't necessarily mean they died there. That's a myth and a half.
Of course, right, yeah.
But this old saying of people come back to visit their old haunts.
Yeah.
Where does that saying come from? When spirits come back to visit their old haunts.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
What that's about.
Yes.
So
my favorite is cemeteries. Everyone's at the cemetery. Why would you be there? They're at the local bar. They're at the comedy club. They're at their house. They're not. Why would you visit the cemetery? There's no memories there.
Well, yeah. Well, it's the thing is it's that they're. You think about the comedy club that you mentioned. The comedy store used to be Ciro's back in the day. It was mafia owned, and my friend took me to the comedy store. And we went to the basement to the lockers down there where the employees' lockers were. And I went down there for the first time and I was like, oh shit. And I saw this vision of a guy sitting on a stool with his hands tied and he's talking to somebody, and all of a sudden somebody comes up behind him, he doesn't hear it, puts a gun right to the back of his head and shoots him right through the skull. Yeah. And it was just like that. It was a mafia. My friend said, how did you know that? I said, I've never been here before. I said, I just saw that. And he said, well, by the way, that's kind of what happened here. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, this guy was whacked down here by the mob.
Yeah, so, and I bet not just one. I bet a whole bunch.
Well, not necessarily. They might have beaten people up there, but to whack them there wasn't exactly something they wanted to do.
No, that's
because
true.
You don't want to leave that kind of, because that becomes, then you have to bring the body out and all this and that.
Then you've got to get them out of there.
Yeah, and it's a public establishment on a major thoroughfare, and the cops were so. Yeah. That's why I said it was an extreme case where it was done. Usually, it was done in private residences, in places that were off the beaten path so that they wouldn't have to worry about neighbors or where the disposition of the body was going to end up.
Sure. Yes.
So that's why I'm being told. That's why it's like that wasn't a common occurrence. But in any event, places that people had fun and lived and enjoyed their lives. It's like they're coming back to visit because spirits go where the hell they want to. They're not wearing a ball and chain like they're working at Disneyland at the Haunted Mansion on the Haunted Mansion ride going, ooh.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not coming to look to stay with you. You've got your own spirits as it is. Everybody doesn't want to hear this. But you have at least one or two spirits that are around you from relatives or friends that have died that are hanging around just because they're trying to keep an eye on you. Absolutely. And they're not looking for you to join come join the dead club. Come join the dead club.
Right.
That's not the steam. That doesn't make sense. We're all going to die at some point. So if they wanted to, they could, but it's like, why would they want to? That's not their business.
Although Disneyland is an extremely haunted place because that's another place, right? Spirits want to visit Disneyland.
People that when you were alive still want to go when they're dead. They still visit, of course.
I know, and they don't have to pay the $300 to get in, so it's fantastic.
You bet your ass. Yeah, no kidding.
Popular with the dead because it's free.
No waiting in lines either.
When did you first start realizing that spirits talk to you?
That I could hear them? Probably when I was a kid, as a young child.
So
just,
always, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I just knew I could hear stuff. It's like, oh no. Problem is hearing is one thing, listening is another.
Absolutely, yes.
You can hear each other blue in the face, as my mother would say. But until you freaking listen, which means you understand what's being said,
yes,
it doesn't mean a hill of beans because they used to talk to me all the time as a kid, and I'd hear things. It's like, don't do this, don't do that. It's like, all right. And I took my girlfriend home, and after they said don't, I said, why? Glenn lives right next door to her. Just let him drive her home. He's going to go there. Stay. What happens? Oh, I totaled the car. Yeah. And it's just it's like, stupid things that said don't. You're going to get a ticket, speeding ticket. Yeah, I went and got a speeding ticket. It's like. So finally, at a certain point, I listened and I started realizing, it's them that's telling me. And every time I don't listen and pay attention and I disavow what they said, I end up paying for it. So maybe when I hear them say SHIT, don't or do, or make sure you do this, I go, okay. I just say, okay. Yeah. And I've learned to train myself to listen because it's smoother sailing when you follow, go with the flow of what you're being told, because it's to no consequence. The learning experience is, did you get it yet? It's like,
yes.
Yeah, I got it. I understand.
Yes, yes. And it's little things, right? The other night I was at my friend's and she made me some tea. And where I sit on her couch, I have to reach back around and pick up the tea. And Spirit said, you're going to spill that tea. I'm like, I'm not going to spill the tea. I'm going to be careful. There's no way I'm going to spill this tea. And 5 minutes later, I hear thud. And I look over and the tea, the to-go teacup is like tipped up like this. And it's seeping all over her rug. And I'm like, oh my God, I spilled the tea.
Yeah.
So you have to pay attention and not say, no, I know better. I'm a person. That's not going to happen because they know. They're trying to warn you.
They know because they see what's already happened. It's all happened before. So we're just going through the motions. And if you don't listen, you pay the price for not paying attention. So that's what I've learned.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. Yes. That's very, very true. And I think it's so important to listen, and I'm glad that you do. So when you are dealing with spirits that you're listening to, are they mostly spirits that are in your house, or are they spirits that travel with you?
Both. Well, no, it's one and the same. The spirits who were traveling with me when I was a kid are still with me to this day. It's not right. There are other spirits that are here. It's like, I see them, they do stuff, but it's not necessarily like I have a personal one-on-one connection with them. That's a totally different, situation.
Right.
Like
Okay,
the,
so
like the figurines, for example. That's not part of my gosh darn cadre of spirits letting me know they're here. I know they're here. I don't need to be reinforced with the fact that the spirits that are around me as a kid and still around me as an adult are still around me. These are other spirits saying, hey, we're here, we're letting you know. And like I said, if we see a kind of like a black shadow run across the frame here,
yeah,
that would be them letting us know they're here.
Yeah.
Who? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at figuring out who the hell that is. But
right.
like I said, I've done a few podcasts recently, and it was like I'm talking on using the same camera all the time for Skype and everything, and it never happens. But when I do certain podcasts, it's like, oh, good Lord, look who we got. It's like, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Dear God.
So you have your own team that goes everywhere with you, that have been with you a lot of your life, or that you're picking up more all the time. But then there are
no, you don't. I don't believe in that either. I don't believe in you pick up more. Well, that's a terrible thing to say. Well, no, because when somebody dies, you end up getting another angel gets its wings. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Another angel, my ass. My point is you do get more every now and then, but it's not as many as people would like to believe.
Sure.
And it's not pick and choose. Like, I can pick my... No. You can't pick your guides.
No.
You don't know who the hell you're going to get. And it's not going to be your aunt or your uncle or somebody you knew. It doesn't work like that most of the time. It's somebody totally disparate.
Yes.
So...
Yes. No, that is true. But like, for instance, like when my mom was alive, she wasn't guiding me. Now, well, she was, but here, now she does from there. So as people pass, you do pick up new ones, but then you have your own, that are in the house as well. And do they all get along? Does everybody navigate the space with everybody? Okay.
Spirits aren't human beings. They just said we don't suffer from egocentricities that humans do. So you don't have these kind of things. And they just goes, what, you think we lie? Spirits don't lie. There's no. They said we have no skin in the game, literally. And they said, we don't have bones. And by the way, to go back to your comment about the graveyards, there's an idea. All right, here's an example. This is an analogy. This is a human being. Whoops, son of a bitch. Inside this containment vessel, which a human being is the spirit. You can see it. It's the fluid that moves inside, we'll say. That's their spirit.
Sure. When
they die, said spirit escapes. And I don't know if you can hear it, but here's an example. See this flame? Yeah. This is the idea of the spirit coming out and escaping. It's now escaped from the body. When this body goes off to be processed, for lack of better terminology, because the spirit just said, say it, the body gets processed by the coroner or by the funerary home, whatever. It's the soul. Now this flame is gone. It's totally separated. The flame doesn't sit there and watch. Okay, what are we doing? We're getting our guts taken out. We're getting our blood drained. We're getting ourselves our brains cut open because we're somebody that died and they want to do an autopsy and they cut your goddamn whole body open and dissect you like a goddamn fucking lab rat, for lack of better words. What you see in the gosh darn in the coffin has been cut open. The brain's been taken out. Everything's been done to that body if they've had an autopsy.
Yeah.
You can bet your bottom dollar. And if it hasn't, they still drain your goddamn blood. If you have fake boobs, they take out the implants. They do all these things to you, or your remains. And your soul's not sitting there watching all this shit happen, going, okay. And then you're off to the gosh darn graveyard, and you're either put into a tomb or you're buried under the ground. And your soul's sitting there not watching your corpse rot and turn into a putrid mess.
Of course, right. It's weird that people think that it is, though, right? And I think that's sort of how we've been culturalized to believe that.
But there are cases where you have people that when they were alive were, quote unquote, devoted, or as I like to say, super obsessed with that individual that passed away, and they make a pilgrimage, such as an example would be the Lady in Red of Rudolph Valentino's fame, who was in love with Valentino. When he died, she would visit his grave every year on the anniversary of his death, and she would appear she would walk, physical, living person, mind you. She would walk to the tomb, put a red rose on his tomb, and walk away. They said after she died that they saw an apparition of a lady in red on the anniversary of his murder doing that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then again, you have Gettysburg, where it's a cemetery where people were killed.
Yes. So
yes, sometimes when people are killed a violent death, they will come back and revisit. It's all different though, because that's just one piece of the puzzle. Other people come back to visit places that they enjoyed, that when they were alive, they didn't die a violent death.
Right, right, but that was her thing, right? That lady that in the red that put the rose on Rudolph Valentino's grave, that was something that meant something to her. So it makes sense.
But she did it when she was alive.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, she's still doing it in honor of his death, still visiting his tomb and putting a rose there, and then she disappears.
Right, right, yeah. Right, of course, like Lady in White that you see. It's that kind of lore, and and Gettysburg, right? I mean, I think in Gettysburg, a lot of those hauntings, David, aren't even intelligent. They're just residual energy. You know, the soldiers that every day at 1:00 they push the cannon across the field. They're not paying any attention to you. It's just like an imprint.
I don't even go that far to think that far about that. I think that's more human rationalization, that we want to think that. They might, again, because they're on a different dimension, they might be actually fighting the battle again on the other side. And all you're seeing is that snapshot of that moment that we're in, that our plane of existence and their plane of existence are intersecting at that moment. And that's all you're saying. But it's hard, again, it's all speculative. We really don't know, nor will we. And that's why it's the world's oldest question. What happens when we die? God forbid. I certainly don't know, but I'll say this, that it's a lot more rational based than it is the shit that we think and what we hear from the myths.
Well, spirit in general, I mean, the more I communicate with spirit and the more time I spend doing that, the more I realize, David, how linear the universe is and how pragmatic the universe is. I mean, it really is. The universe really functions in a very scientific way. It's not all this kind of, I mean, yes, there's an airy-fairy nature to it, but it's about, like, you know, you get back what you put in, and what thoughts are things, what you think comes back to you, and all this kind of stuff, which is just basic math when you think about it. It's people who try to make everything so personal and try to make the universe function like people do, which is very irrationally and inconsistent. That's not how spirit is.
And I think you're right with that. I think that a lot of what you're talking about is the fact that fictional stories about the paranormal going back thousands of years, going back to the Greeks and the Romans, were for entertainment purposes and for purposes of illustrating outcomes and behaviors and trying to give people, like Aesop's fables, give them an understanding of right and wrong and, cause and effect. You do this, you get this. So don't do that, in a sense, moral expressions.
Yes.
And trying to give people moral understanding. And we read into them as these are literal. It's like the mythology was also supposed to teach people about ethics and moral code and stuff. That's more of what the gods were in the stories of the Romans and the Greeks were, to help people comprehend through lessons in visual sense in terms of stories. And not literally what we've come to understand as, the paranormal, and the encounters that were recorded with the paranormal weren't scary. They were really like saying, okay, there's a visitor from my aunt came by and visited me. The Roman wrote down. It's like,
it's a visitor from my ass.
No, an aunt. I meant her aunt. His aunt came to visit him. Like,
yes, exactly.
But it's like, okay, but it wasn't hyperbolic like we've turned it into.
Yes,
I mean,
right. You're 100% right. I agree with you.
But drama sells.
Yes. Human beings like to create drama, right? You're wonderful, my friend. Thank you for being here. Let's do this again. And I know I've got something I'm trying to schedule to be up in LA. And when I do, I want to call you and see if we can schedule me coming over at the same time and do a live.
Absolutely. Do a show from here, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
My God, it'd be great,
Yeah, we'll do something. It would be so fun. We'll do something from there. I would love it. Where can people find you online and find out more about the house?
Right now we have nothing planned as far as events are concerned, but like I said, I've got my book, Ghosts of Cielo Drive,
nice,
which is available. You can get it online at ghostsofcielodrive.com. I'm working on getting this up on Amazon, and hopefully I'll get this taken care of in the next couple of days, both the digital version and the hard copy version, and I will sign the hard copy version as well. YouTube.com/David Oman is the best place to reach me. Fortunately, I don't have a business card or a postcard, do I? No, of course not. I don't. Of course not. Why would I? But like I said, youtube.com/David Oman, Oman. You can check out my videos, subscribe to my channel. That's really about it,
Wonderful. I thank you so much for being here, my friend. You're so wonderful. And I can't wait to come by the house and do a show from there. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh, come on, Sheena. You know the house will light up like a Christmas tree.
I know,
Christmas
right?
Day.
We have so much activity when we're
you'll be
together.
Like,
I love that.
I hear somebody talking. Who the fuck is that? Who's that? Who the heck? What the? Huh? It's like, yeah, Sheena, they're here. They're all around you, don't you? It's like,
we have flashing lights and pens flying off tables and all kinds of stuff when we're together.
That's the last time you were here. We had the light turn off. I was going.
And the pen that flew across the table.
What the fuck was it? I was like, at least, Gina, we're not alone. She goes, oh, yeah. Is this normal? Yeah. It's like, yeah, but not really.
Normal for me. Yeah.
Normal for the house. For me, it's not normal. It is what it is, though. But
Thank you, my friend. Thank you to the wonderful David Oman for being here. And thanks to KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network for hosting this show. You can find me at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com and everywhere on social media at Sheena Metal. Also, you can text me. It's the quickest way to reach me, 818-437-0886. If you want to book a private session or learn more about what I do with healings and crystals and all kinds of fun stuff. If you are interested in my services, SheenaMetalReadings.com will take you to where you can learn about everything that I do. Come and find me. And of course, if you want more info on David Oman, I will provide that to you as well. Until I see you next Friday at 3:00 Pacific time, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration and know that you are loved and you are loved and you're so loved by me. I'm Sheena Metal and I love you so much. And I'll see you next time. Thanks to KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network and my wonderful guest, David Oman. We'll see you next time.